Hey everybody, Jamie Trull here, your favorite CPA and financial literacy coach. And today we're going to be talking about one of the things that I get asked questions about all the time, which is what are the different types of taxes that business owners need to pay? So what are all these different taxes that if you are self-employed or a business owner, you are going to need to pay? And y'all, there are a lot. I'm going to be totally honest with you. And sometimes it can be confusing what these different taxes are, how they differ from one another, how they differ from perhaps the taxes that you pay when you don't have a business, right? When you're working for someone else. So I wanted to quickly explain what those different taxes are to make sure that you are aware of all the different types of taxes you need to be saving for, who those are paid to, and how you need to pay them. Okay, so let's jump on in. So of course, if you watch this channel at all, you know that a lot of topics around taxes are going to depend first and foremost on the type of entity that you are. What I'm doing right here in this video is going to be specifically for my sole proprietors. That's what you are if you haven't filed anything. Maybe you're self-employed, 1099 contractor, that's going to be you. My LLCs, okay, so maybe you have taken the step to become an LLC in the state that you are in. And this is also going to be true for my S-Corps. And also this is going to be true for my partnerships too, if that happens to be what you are. So all of those entities are what are called pass-through entities, okay? And the reason that that is important is that it means that you actually don't pay taxes at the business level. Now, that doesn't mean you don't pay taxes for your business income, because you absolutely do, of course. However, it just means that you're not paying taxes on a corporate return. Depending on the type of entity you are, especially if you're an S-Corp or a partnership, you may have an additional filing return that you need to do, but you don't actually pay taxes on that return. Okay, so that's really important to know. What happens instead is that all of those profits, essentially, in your business, your share of them gets passed through to your individual income tax return. And that is where you will claim them. Now, if you're wondering what types of entities are not pass-through entities, well, that would be an entity like a C corporation. And a C corporation actually will file taxes as a corporation and pay taxes as a corporation. And also anything that you would take out of the business as an owner would be taxed as well. So that means you're actually taxed twice, once at the corporate level and once at the individual level, thus the double taxation that is sometimes said of C corporations. So they are not considered pass-through entities, but we're not going to talk a ton about them today. So know what you are so that you know what taxes are going to apply to you. And the second thing that I want to bring up here too is the fact that you are going to pay taxes to various different taxing authorities. And that's where it can get super confusing because we are talking about federal, right? If you're in the United States, you are going to pay federal taxes, and there's multiple different types of federal taxes you may have to pay. All right. And then there are taxes that you are going to have to pay at a state level, possibly. And there could be multiple different types of taxes on the state level you're responsible for. And then also even on the local level, local meaning your city or your county, right? They may have additional taxes that you need to pay. So we're going to talk about all three of those different jurisdictions and what you need to be mindful of because it can be very different depending on where you live. So let's first talk about federal. Federal is the one that is easiest to kind of wrap our heads around, and federal is the one that we pay to the US government, to the IRS, right? So that's going to be our income taxes. And when we think about income taxes, we have to pay these no matter where we're getting this income from. So whether it's a W-2 job or whether we are getting paid through the profit in our business, right? Whereas self-employed, that's all going to be taxable income. So that income tax is going to be assessed. And when we talk about tax brackets, we're talking about income tax, okay? So the income tax is the one that has tax brackets. Remember, and this is just an important thing because sometimes we get wrapped up in the percentages, remember that it's only the amount above, right? It's a stair step. So if we're looking at, from 10,000 to 20,000 to simplify, being taxed at 15%, and then 20,000 to 50,000 being taxed at 20%, it's only the amount above. It's not like everything shifts over. So I often talk about people who don't want to move into the next tax bracket. Well, that's kind of silly because remember, when you do that, it's only that piece above. So it's always going to be better to make more money. I would not try to lessen the amount of money that you make just because you're trying to avoid taxes. A good tax planner may be able to help you with the timing of that income. However, in general, making more money is going to be better and you're going to take more home at the end of the day. So that's income taxes. That's what you file on your 1040 at the end of the year. Now, that's not the only thing, though, that shows up on your 1040. The other type of taxes that are kind of embedded within that are going to be your payroll taxes, or in the case of a self-employed person, they're your self-employment taxes. Those are the same thing. It's generally going to be Social Security and Medicare, okay? So those taxes... So again, those are taxes that get paid either way. However, your employment status will determine who pays those taxes, okay? So in the case that you are a W-2 employee, you're working for someone else, right? And they are issuing you a W-2, you're an employee for them. Your employer will pay half of your Social Security and Medicare. Sometimes Social Security is called FICA. That might be what it shows up on your paycheck as. And they will pay that on your behalf, half of it, and you pay the other half, okay? So in total, Social Security and Medicare are about 15.3%. There are some phase outs, things like that, but in general, 15.3%. If you are employed with an employer, your employee pays half, i.e. 7.65%, and you pay half, the other 7.65%. However, my self-employed people, you probably are aware of this. If not, news for you, you have to pay both sides of that, okay? So 15.3%, you pay all of it because technically the way the IRS sees it is that you are both the employer and the employee in that situation. So real quick side note for my S-Corp owners, you can reduce the amount of payroll taxes that you have to pay potentially by being an S-Corp owner, because essentially a portion of your earnings would not have this 15.3% taken out. However, it still would have income taxes. Now, that is a whole topic for another day, and I'm going to be doing a heck of a lot more on S-Corps coming up soon. So please make sure to like and subscribe because I've got a lot of content coming out about that. We're almost to the point where we need to be making a decision on S-Corp for 2023. So make sure to tune in. And remember that not everyone is a good fit for an S-Corp, but if you are, it might be something to consider for next year. So going back to our federal taxes, you're going to pay your income tax and your payroll tax all together on your 1040 that you will file. So it all kind of gets mixed up together in those crazy calculations on your 1040, and you will pay all of that together. And now the last federal tax that is worth it to mention, but hopefully doesn't apply to the vast majority of you, are excise taxes. So the federal government can also have excise taxes. That's generally going to be on very specific industries. So maybe airline, if you're importing things, if you are selling things like tobacco, right? Certain types of products, fuel, those types of industries tend to have additional surcharges and additional taxes on them. So excise taxes might be something that applies to you. So you can go check out on the IRS website and search and see if your industry has any specific excise taxes you need to be aware of and how you pay those. Okay, so let's jump now from federal to state. What types of state taxes do we have to pay? Well, not so surprisingly, most states have an income tax. So very similar to a federal income tax, you also have to file a state tax return, and typically on that state tax return, you're going to have to claim all of your income that was made within that state. If you've made income in multiple states, you may have to file state tax returns in multiple states, so that's something to be aware of. It's not just necessarily the state in which you live. However, in most cases, where you work is going to dictate where you have to file that tax return, okay? So state income taxes, some states don't have them. I live in the state of Tennessee, and we do not have a state income tax, which is amazing. Doesn't mean there aren't other ways that they get our money, but we don't have a state income tax. Now, the next state tax is going to be sales and use tax, okay? So if you have questions about sales tax, I have a whole entire video that goes into this. This is a topic in and of itself. It generally relates to sales of products, usually physical products, but sometimes digital products as well. So go check out that video that I did all about sales taxes. We talk about the concept of nexus, who needs to pay it and how, but just know that in general, you may have to pay sales taxes, in the state in which you sell to, okay? So if you're selling to people out of state, if you're sending products, let's say if you have an online shop and you're sending products via the mail, now, thank you, Wayfair case, which was a court case where ultimately they decided that yes, online retailers do need to pay sales taxes in other states if they are shipping to those other states and consumers are purchasing from their states. So that is why you probably saw at some point, when online sales didn't have any sales tax, to all of a sudden now pretty much anything that you buy as a physical product online is going to have sales tax associated with it. So states have their own taxes, their own tax percentages. If you have multiple states that you do need to track this for, you probably want to be using some type of software that helps you do this so that you are collecting and remitting the right kinds of sales tax. But thankfully, there are a lot of loopholes here, so make sure to go check out that sales tax video that I did. So excise taxes is something that exists on the state level too, specific industries. So you want to check, it may be called something else. It's not always specifically called excise taxes, but ultimately certain industries may have additional taxes that are levied on them. So you want to check your state's Department of Revenue website to see if there's anything that you need to be aware of. And also at the state and at the local level, there are various taxes that they love to make up and institute. So like I said, Tennessee does not have a income tax. However, we've got some other taxes. So we have a business tax. There is a privilege tax. They make up all kinds of names for these taxes. So again, you want to go to your state's Department of Revenue website and see what different types of taxes there are. You're usually going to have to potentially register there so that they know that you are a business and therefore they can start charging you these random taxes. And then the final type of taxes to be paying attention to are taxes at the local level. So this may be your town that you're in, your city limits. It may even be your county, right? There are various different ways that they can draw this up, and all these different municipalities love to find ways to tax and bring in income for their government agency. So you definitely want to go check and maybe even give somebody in that Department of Revenue for your county or for your city a call just to say, hey, I'm starting a business or I have a business and I'm wondering what I need to be aware of. They do often have sales taxes similar to at the state level. So you may have to collect and remit sales taxes. And again, there are many different types of services and softwares that can help you with this if you have to collect and remit sales taxes in multiple different jurisdictions. So take a look at ones like Avalara or TaxJar because those might be really helpful if that's the case for you. And lastly, again, at a local level, there could be some random taxes. And again, typically these are not going to be huge, but they might sneak up on you, so you want to be aware of them. So you might want to give them a call and just make sure there aren't any specific taxes you need to be aware of, and be watching the mail for when they inevitably send you a notice about some new tax you'd never heard of. Now again, this is not an exhaustive list of all the different taxes you would have to pay as a business owner. However, it's a pretty good start. These are going to be the main ones. But remember, the names could be different because different states are able to come up with their own types of taxes, and different local regions do as well. So you're going to need to check and make sure that you're aware of your own local area and what taxes are there. But this is just to give you a heads up on what could be something you should be paying attention to. Now, maybe this is your first year of business, or you've been in business for a little while and taxes are the thorn in your side and you're still really trying to kind of get your footing with your taxes. If that's you, then I have something for you. Check out my Getting Ready for Taxes bundle. We have amazing checklists and video lessons and plug and play worksheets, including a plug and play P&L and a plug and play mileage tracker and home office deduction calculator for those of you who work from home. So all of that is included within this tax bundle. It's also going to have a checklist that will go through everything you need to do to get your financials tax ready as quickly as possible. So if you've maybe, not been keeping up with things all year the way you planned to, that is a great thing to purchase. It's typically $149 right now for YouTube, depending on when you're watching this. I have it currently on sale for only $47. So you can head over to jamietrull.com/tax bundle to check that out and grab a hold of that so that it can make tax time so much easier and save you so much time. Now, like I said, we're going to be doing lots more content on things like taxes, things to know going into year end, entity type choices, and S Corps specifically. So make sure to like and subscribe so that you see my new videos every week. And I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.